In my research, I've found that the design of the dairy shed and yard is just as important as the design of the track in preventing foot lameness in dairy cattle. It's hard to find a perfect track. It's almost as hard to find a perfect dairy shed.
In the past, we haven't paid enough attention to cow flow through the shed when we're looking for the cause of foot damage. In the shed, just as on the track, when cows bunch up and are forced to raise their heads, feet can easily be damaged. The fact that a lot of lameness is actually happening in the shed or yard area may be either from poor management of the herd or as a result of poor design features that affect the cow flow. This section of the video will look at the types of problems I find in sheds and yards that have resulted in increased lameness. Let's follow the cows through the shed, highlighting each area.
You don't have to fix everything to get good cow flow through the milking shed, but here are some ideas to help you at least identify the worst areas. So here's the first problem. The track narrows and turns at right angles just before it gets to the yard. This causes the cows to bunch up and so affects the flow of the cows into the yard.
However, the herd will keep moving on if the track widens as it approaches and then enters straight into the yard. A nib wall at the edge of the concrete entrance will divert rainwater or washdown water from flowing onto the gravel track. It will have the added advantage of reducing the number of stones being scuffed onto the concrete by the cows as they enter the yard. Not only is this a poor entrance, it is in the wrong place. As the cows enter the yard, the milking order gets disrupted. The herd coming in will split into two directions. The dominant front cows will turn towards the bales as expected. The middle group will fill the rest of the yard on the right. The last cows to enter will usually stand just inside the gate. When the first group of cows have been milked, the middle dominance cows move from the right through the group of lowest dominant cows, heading for the bales. This creates a lot of jostling in the yard, which increases the chance of poor foot placement and subsequent damage. If the yard entrance was on the other side, this problem would not occur. Once the cows have entered the milking yard, they organise themselves into a milking order. This order is not exactly the same order in which they entered the yard. They need enough space to quietly make these adjustments in position. For example, Holstein Friesian cows need 1.5 square metres per cow, smaller breeds at least 1.3 square metres per cow.
As our cows approach the entrances to the bales, they'll be afraid of a spot like this. They naturally are afraid of a dark area, and there's not much protection to stop them slipping a leg over the edge or falling into the end of this pit. And here's another problem in our shed. Not only is the bale entrance a scary place for the cows to stand, there's nowhere for the lead cow to stand ready to follow the milked cows as they leave the bales. Worse than that, when the farmer comes to lift this bar, hoping that the cow will follow the other cows down, she tends to balk at it and stop. The farmer might be tempted to come out of the pit to try and get her to go down. She balks, turns away from him, and further upsets the flow through the shed.
To make the milking bale entrance cow-friendly, build lead-in rails like these. These rails direct the cows straight into the bales and away from the pit entrance. It also makes a place for the milker to stand without upsetting the cows near the bale entrance.
One of the most common causes of poor cow flow through a shed is slippery concrete. It could be at the bale entrances, through the bales, like this, or at the exit, or anywhere in the yard.
Wherever a cow is walking, she must have a good footing. For example, a mat as the cows come off a rotary platform can help. Slippery concrete can be roughened up using the right machinery. Every farmer who has effectively roughened a slippery surface is amazed at the immediate improvement in cow flow.
Pipework in the milking shed needs consideration. This upright bar is shiny from here down to here. The only thing that would shine that bar is the hip of a cow. Once a cow's caught her hip on this bar, it's painful and she'll be reluctant to come into the bales.
Simply angling the pipes like this solves the problem.
Our shed has no nib wall here. And that's okay as long as the back bar here is positioned far enough from the pit to stop the cow's leg from slipping over the edge like this.
Either add a nib wall, or better still, move the pipework over at least 50 millimetres to keep the back leg away from the edge.
This breast rail is too high. It's 900 millimetres from the breast rail to the floor. This is uncomfortable for a cow because at this height it will push against the trachea or windpipe of the cow or the point of the shoulder when the cow is in a milking position. Here is yet another reason why cows would be reluctant to come into this shed.
The ideal height for breast rails is somewhere between 700 millimetres for smaller cows and 760 millimetres for bigger breeds.
Does this look like a tight squeeze for my head? Imagine what it's like for a cow. When the gate opens, she has to pull her head out. If she's pushed from behind at the same time, she'll catch her jaw on the corner of this bar. This is very painful, and once it's happened to a cow, she'll never want to come as a front cow again.
Eliminate all unnecessary bars. The front cow should be able to stand comfortably during milking with plenty of headspace, then move out of the bales without any problems.
Even when our cow gets her head out from behind this bar, she's got a problem in our shed. She's got to turn at right angles to get out of the bales. Cows need about 4 metres to turn without twisting on their feet. This shed needs to be about twice as wide in this area.
Of course, the ideal is a direct flow out of the bales onto the exit track. Closing the gate between the rows can also disturb the flow.
The trouble with this type of gate is that the farmer needs to stand up here near the head of the cows to close the gate. This upsets not only the cows leaving the shed, but the ones coming up ready to be milked.
A better type of gate is one like this, operated from the pit. It allows the farmer to quietly close the gate behind the last milked cow without frightening the next cow.
Just like us, cows don't like electric shocks. If you sort out all the problems in the shed and the cows still don't want to come down the bales, maybe it's stray electricity.
This commonly comes from mains electric fence units, and particularly those powered from the milking shed. Other sources of stray electricity can be power drenching systems and poorly earthed sheds. Join up all the pipework to eliminate potential differences. Always switch off the electric fence unit during milking and set it up in a shed away from the dairy. Never use electrified wires on backing gates. If certain cows sit against the gate and stop it moving, attach a hock rail and a bell to wake them up, but never use an electric wire to push the cows. We've looked at a whole lot of design problems in a milking shed and yard. Only a few of these directly cause foot damage and lameness. Mostly these problems affect cow flow. When the cows aren't flowing well, the farmer tends to become impatient, come out of the pit to gather the cows, or use the backing gate too much. This is when foot damage will occur. You can probably see quite a few of these problems in your shed, but don't panic. Instead, identify the problems, correct the main ones, and just watch how cow flow improves and lameness decreases.